night, and that humans are not of this world. And that's what NASA's basically saying. And so, again, I don't argue with the theory of evolution or the theory of creation, because all of it is constructs of man looking at histories and ancient text and projecting the current debate onto it. Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, what some local preacher thinks about how the earth was created isn't even what the Bible says. They're just playing the part of God and their dogma that discredits Christianity, which, if you actually study the Bible, it's amazing and actually verifies it. But that's another trick of the world. And then if you look at what the evolutionists say, Piltdown Man and pig skulls and pig teeth and all the hoaxes and all the lies, there is massive fraud in modern science, and it's a religion of eugenics to sell the idea that the general public is scum and deserves to die, to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So see, I reject it all. The controlled churches idea of the earth being the center of the universe, we know that's bunk. And that was just the perspective of people in the church at the time, of their interpretation. The Bible said the earth was round in multiple places, but the ancients, after the Dark Ages, were saying that it was flat. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. So, bottom line, I reject the priest of the church who all debate and argue with each other and have 1,000 different interpretations of the Bible. And I also reject the church of the eugenicists who pose as speaking from the throne of total truth, ex cathedra, that everything they say is true, when they're all debating with each other and all have their own little pet theorems. We're going to be breaking that article down today. We're going to cover it all. Lord Monckton joins us with the huge McCarthyism sweeping the world to try to persecute those that point out the public documents that ClimateGate and the latest ClimateGate that broke last week prove that the whole environmental movement is a power grab and is not actually trying to help the earth. That is all coming up as well. We are also going to continue getting into some of the really important news reports, and I'll cover this first when we come back from break. TSA to purchase 24 million rounds of duty ammunition. And Paul Watson goes on to ask the question, are feds preparing to arm TSA workers? That's like asking, do elephants have trunks? And in the article, Paul begs the question. He links to where they say they want armed TSA in the airports, and they're already on the streets via the Viper teams. So the answer is yes, this is happening. We're going to break that down. Also, U.S. Special Forces, we have a newscast of this, and, quote, foreign troops practice invading Tampa. Local news promises invasion is not the Russians or the New World Order. Troops from 16 different nations participated in that. And we have video of that up on Infowars.com. Also, House votes to shut down NSA phone snooping. That's what the headline says. That's not what's really happening. NYPD considering using drones and gunshot detectors to fight crime. That means microphones. You know, when they train to mow down the public in mass, they call it zombie kill training. No, it's mow down the public training. All of this is hiding in plain sight. And it is coming up today, ladies and gentlemen. Also, we have a new record price of gas above $3 a gallon for 1,245 days. That's because of dollar devaluation. I told you this 4 years ago, and we did articles on it. We need to dig those up. It's now being reported Angelina Jolie talks the possibility of running for office, wedding and more on GMA. Who cares? I mean, she is an anti-gun, world government promoting, pro-Africa invasion, warmonger who wants the UN and NATO to invade all these countries, put al-Qaeda in charge. She loved the Syria war, the Libya war. She's a war criminal. And I've said that. Angelina Jolie is a guilty, like Joseph Goebbels of Nazi Germany, of crimes against humanity. Prima facie. I happen to know that she's seen my films with Brad Pitt. I happen to know they were aware of the New World Order 10 years ago, and they chose to join it. Ever consider running for office? The human rights advocate replied, you know, if I thought it'd be effective, I would, but I'm not sure if I would ever be taken seriously in that way and be able to be effective, the Oscar winner added. Jolie previously dismissed the idea in years past, saying she had too many skeletons in her closet, but that seems to have changed. What, all the suicide stuff, the cutting herself, the devil worship, the wearing blood around her neck, saying, you know, she loves darkness and murder, stuff like that. I love how she's a human rights advocate with the UN. Like David Rockefeller is a philanthropist. And Jay Rockefeller is a humanitarian. And David de Rothschild, who we got on the show, is a humanitarian, a philanthropist, and an adventurer. He's like Indiana Jones. Why, he went to the Arctic once, hundreds of years after people pioneered it in the middle of winter and went to the North Pole. Why, did you hear he looked at the moon with a telescope? So he's Neil Armstrong now. He flew by helicopter to the North Pole once. He's a trailblazer. Did you hear David de Rothschild actually found the Lewis and Clark Trail and actually went from the East Coast to the West Coast just last year? Did you hear that? He discovered California, folks. The Rothschild heir from England. Did you know? He's a hero. I asked him when he was on the show. I was able to get him on because he had a children's book of brainwashing out about how polar bears couldn't swim. I said, okay, well, why are the ice caps of Mars previously melting? I said, now they're expanding because, you know, global warming had reversed. That was 7 years ago, and it was already clearly reversing. I said, why are the ice caps of Mars, you know, getting smaller too? It's because the sun's heating up. And he said, no, it's because Mars is closer to the sun than the Earth. And I said, no, it isn't. It's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and then on out. And he said, no, it's not, and laughed, thinking my audience was the general public, that if an authority, a Rothschild, says, you know, he's literally the guy's a Jesus lookalike. He literally tries to look like Jesus, acts like Jesus, says he wants to save the earth. He is our Christ. Our Christ, Al Gore is a Christ as well, saving us, inventing the internet. He said, no, it is closer to the sun than the earth. Doesn't matter if it's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, the asteroid belt, Jupiter, the largest planet, the supergiant, the gas giant, Saturn, the next gas giant, Uranus, the next gas giant, Neptune, and then Pluto, which isn't even considered a planet anymore, and over 300 bodies the size of Pluto or bigger in the Kuiper Belt. It doesn't matter that a 7-year-old should know that. He thinks you're a moron, and he says to you, I say Mars is closest to the sun, and Mercury is in the Kuiper Belt. And because he says it, it is law. And if Al Gore says he invented the internet, it's true. And if Obama says it's racist to not turn your guns in, and that the NRA was founded by the Klan, even if it's the opposite, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you built your small business. He says you didn't build it. It doesn't matter if increasing the debt increases the debt. He says increasing the debt limit doesn't increase it. It doesn't matter if there's $5,000 fines for business owners this year that don't get or make their employees get insurance. They'll just say it doesn't exist as the taxes come due. They will hit you and hit you hard and never stop because you love it and you beg for it and you want it. Because people love being unconscious jellyfish that aren't awake because you watch television all day, you play video games all day, people smoke dope all day, they get drunk all day, and they have no idea what planet they're even on.
We are going to become gods. Period. If you don't like it, get off. You don't have to contribute. You don't have to participate. But if you're going to interfere with me becoming God, they're going to have big trouble. And we'll have warfare.
That's Richard Seed, one of the globalists. You know, it really hit me last night. I say this every day, but I was driving home at night, taking my children to see a movie. And it really hit me. Man, I'm on a planet in deep space with technocrats manipulating everything, openly saying they are, who believe they're going to be gods and merge with machines. And the general public's running around worried about what Hannah Montana or Miley Cyrus is doing, sticking her yellow tongue out.